Hello and welcome to
Okay.
Talking with Famous People.
Um,
My name is host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People, and I am going to start today by talking about the Alpha Quadra complex of closed mouths, which Margie linked me to. Margie, see, if she wouldn't spell her name that way, I wouldn't always mispronounce it. Anyway,
mhm.
so I want to talk about this complex of closed mouths and then explain that the Alpha Quadra's prioritization in terms of values, and then open up the topic to the floor for comments. So the first thing to say about it is complex closed mouths means we don't like closed mouths. We like open mouths. And especially the two logical types value uh, discourse as the core good. That as long as everybody has the ability and opportunity to speak their opinion, as long as all opinions are factored into the matter, that through discourse we can resolve the matter both to correct outcomes and to everybody's benefit. And I firmly 100% believe this to be the case. So when I read this complex of closed mouths thing, and I he, it describes the various valuing systems that promote this, like how we, and then it started talking about how we also have a tendency to basically be relativistic. That they'll use any argument in order to win the argument. They're more concerned about winning their point really than any common good or anything like that. Yada 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 yada. Well, I mean, it wasn't. I don't know if they exactly said they're more concerned about that, but that's the conclusion that it was leading ones to. That there's a relativism that means the ENTP especially will make arguments and use logic that is just designed to befuddle, and that it doesn't actually. It takes a long time before you learn their tricks and are able to say, now that trick's not going to work. It's reflective of a value other than alpha quadras as the value of the person writing the article, the Russian lady. So the point of it is, she's wrong. First of all, to the extent that alpha quadra ENTPs are making only negationary arguments, it's true there's a tendency of us to do that, to be only negators, to just blow shit up all the time and never have anything, never assert any positions because we don't want to be held to any claims. We just want to blow up everybody else's claims. It's true there's a tendency to do that until you get it down. Well, the reason we're like that is we're not done blowing up all the bad arguments yet. Once we're done blowing up all the bad arguments, then you're left with what's left, and you can make good arguments. You have an affirmative position that you assert, and it's consistent logically. Now, when the other mistake this article makes is that it operates under the assumption that there's more than one way to argue, but there's not. There's only one way to argue.
so I was wondering, could you show this article on screen?
Oh yeah, thank you. That's a good idea. Mm, how do you? Okay. Uh, history. History. Uh, Let me search. So, complex. Complex. There it is. Complex of closed mouth. Alright, so this is for people who have the democratic trait, the judicious trait, and the subjectivist trait. It's TIFENESI. Those two plus together equals democratic, I guess. Alright, so
I was wondering, could you perhaps enlarge the text on the screen, or at least zoom in a little bit, because it's quite small.
there you go. Okay.
All
So
right. Good.
what I want to let me go down though to is quite a long article. We're not going to really be able to sit here and read the whole thing, but let me start here. Alpha Quadra hates verbal attacks and censure that undermine their ability to get in a word. This fear that they experience, the fear of inability to speak freely, to discuss one's own topic, to defend one's own point of view, we will conventionally call the complex of closed mouth. Alpha Quadra is not distinguished by an ability to keep secrets. Here, any restrictions to disclosure are received with some discomfort. So this is why Margie linked this to me, is because I had this conflict with what's her name, Enid Patterson, because she sent me a private message, but in my mind it was about me. Like, she was saying, look, you're displaying these ADD things, well, whatever my reasons were, it doesn't matter. She got
is
all
this the one that you publicly displayed and she got upset over?
Yeah, exactly. Even though they're fucking whatever. But anyway, secretive people are not liked in the Alpha Quadra. They are not trusted. No, not feared at all.
Yeah, this is true.
Who knows what they have in their mind? It's not that. It's not who knows what they have in their mind. It's they are not trusted because they are actively choosing to deny information to others that could be useful in making real good decisions, right? So if you are hiding
that's exactly what I thought when I watched that video. I just thought, gosh, why would you get upset over, something like that?
I don't know. So, okay, talkativeness is a characteristic feature of Alpha Quadra. Debates, conversations, discussions, these are favorite pastime here. Only try to interfere with them speaking, you will hear, wait, let me talk to him. Can't you see I'm talking? At the same time, blocking the conversation, interrupting and interfering with others talking doesn't require much effort from them, especially if to them the topic is interesting and relevant. Okay, so that's true. It doesn't require much effort. Blocking the conversation, interrupting and interfering with others talking doesn't require much effort, but it doesn't mean it's valued by us. Just because we make that mistake doesn't mean we value it. I don't value it. I value making sure everybody's opinion is fully heard so that we can excise the bad parts. And the invitation to a conversation can be extended to and shared by all. See, it is interesting the way talking with famous people is basically me manifesting Alpha Quadra values in reality, right? That's what this is. It's like, why is talking with famous people the way it is? Oh, this is why, apparently. It's like it so perfectly describes the reality, but it misunderstands that Alpha Quadra value is actually superior. And it's necessary for all other values to be manifest. So, Alpha types believe that openness and wide accessibility of information is their main democratic achievement. The level of democratization of society here is determined not by the number of political parties, but by openness and availability of conversations of any topic. So I've already said in past videos that the way we determine an ally in foreign policy is on two criteria. One, unfettered free expression is number one most important because all other goods follow from that. And number two, free and fair elections because it guarantees there's some protocols to back it up. And this is the thing. It's not just like, it's all quadras have the same equal quality of value. In fact, the other values are predicated upon ours. So if ours is the value that is the thin blue line between barbarity and civilization. In Alpha Quadra, all value the opportunities to express themselves and defend their views. Therefore, any divergence of opinions here get transformed into a real battle, where with all kinds of efforts and tactics by all truth and lies, one tries to assert their views and attract them with attention. But see, this is not true. It is only. Yeah,
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I got cut off.
I know, that's fine. It'll happen, I guess. You have a iffy connection. You don't gotta.
Right.
There's no need ever to say like, "Oh, I'm here or I'm leaving." People come and go as they please. That's another Alpha Quadra value. Okay, come and go as you please. By all truths and lies, one tries to assert their views and to attract the most attention. But this is not true. I do not resort to any arguments to assert my view. My view is determined by the truth. So if it requires a lie to defend it, I don't advocate that thing. Once a person starts to talk, he or she attempts to capture the maximum amount of time while not allowing anyone to speak. Possibly, but again, not something we value, something that is part of our applying our value to ourselves. If he succeeds, he may feel himself a winner. He's in the spotlight. That's not what makes a winner. What makes a winner is being right. But in others, its inability to speak and express their point of view evokes an acute fear of not getting heard, of being pushed out of the discussions, and out of the process of debating an important and pertinent topic. Where does it come from? Who cares? In Alpha Quadra, here there's a constant, very fierce, and lively exchange of views. Verbal expression and opportunity to speak and communicate. Here's the highest value. Problems get resolved in the process of discussion. It's not just here it's the highest value. It's everywhere. There's only one way to argue. There's only one manner of resolution. We do not resolve things through non-communication. And when we communicate, if there's any sort of dispute, we are unavoidably, necessarily, and always making arguments. The only difference is, do you do it well or you do a shitty job of it? And if you are not valuing this as the most important and significant and core value underlying all justice, freedom, and truth, then you are wrong. Let's see. Oh, you decided to do that, huh, Eric? Okay. It's always interesting to find out what I decide to do. Disciplined forms of managing discussions are implemented. Not necessarily. You don't need them. You can have people can do it on the fly. Alpha Quadra is afraid to find themselves in social and information isolation, to lose trust and respect and ear of other people, to miss opportunities to establish understanding with others, to miss opportunities to defend one's rightness, to justify oneself, to ward off suspicions, of giving any reasons for condemnation, of being forced out of the system to be left without social moral support. This is all 100% true for me. The knowledge that an important question will be resolved in absence of oneself, and perhaps not to one's benefit or favor, in Alpha Quadra provokes anxiety and fear. This anxious fear is compounded by intensive competition of alternative, mutually contradictory statements and opinions that in their rapid stream drown out all individuals' attempts to defend himself, his reputation, his innocence, or authority. Except this is not true. No, it's not. An intensive stream of accurate, honed, perfectly targeted attacks that achieves justice. That would be a good definition of this. The rapid stream drown out all of an individual's attempts to defend himself. Well, what the fuck did he do to piss me off so much? He did something really, really fucking stupid. I'll tell you that much. His reputation is innocence or authority. He shouldn't have any fucking authority. As a result, a feeling of panic arises, similar to one experienced by people trying to scream and shout and finally get heard by others, and yet not hearing a response, trying to find understanding with others, not finding it, trying to call for help, and being unable to do so for reasons beyond one's control. And it's not as alarming or frightening that his hands are tied as that his mouth is shut such that he cannot yell and shout to draw the attention and the aid of others to obtain justice, nor prove his case or defend his innocence, neither to consult or confer or protect his honor or dignity, or to appeal to the common sense, conscience, and compassion of others. None of this can be done with a closed, clamped mouth, and this feeling itself is what scares Alpha Quadra members the most, plunges them into shock, into stupor, leads them to despair. Of course it would. It would be that very downfall of civilization if some other value were to be prioritized.
Actually, the sentence right below it seems more like what a ENFJ or ESTP would do.
Right.
Yeah, that one.
See, here's the problem with this article, right? It thinks it doesn't matter what you're shouting. It assumes that if you're shouting, it's for these reasons. It's just competition of alternative, mutually contradictory statements and opinions, rapid stream, just to drown out your attempts. Okay, you think that because you don't understand how to argue. You do it all the time, but you do it badly. And so it frustrates you. Get a little frustrated. Fuckface. What's your name, Fuckface? Let me see. What's Fuckface's name? Who wrote this thing? I don't know. Somebody. Alright, so the one who has greater chance of defending himself is the one who shouts louder. The prevalent aspect of the ethics of emotions, or most convincingly proves his right or rightness. This one. It's not just convincingly proves it. You either prove it or you prove you're wrong. Those are the only two options. Divide it into us and them? No, we're not. I don't divide people into us and them. Everybody's us. Wrongness is them. Wrongness is not a person. where everyone is trying to present themselves as familiars in one of ours and push out the foreigners. Bullshit. Where there's enough space in the system, where there's not enough space in the system. Whereas punishment, one can be driven out of the community. So in this one, it's saying, oh, these are things that are offensive to us. Okay, yeah, they are offensive to us. That's what I get for not reading shit. All right, well, anyway, yeah, those things are all offensive to us. Boo. Boo failure, boo. Boo failure to all those things. Therefore, for Alpha Quadra, it is important to defend their honor before the public in public places or in the press to set up some kind of loud scandal. Absolutely. Because what does every wrongdoer want more than anything else is to fucking hide in the shadows. Light of day, transparency. For example, ILE Don Quixote often quarrels with his conflictor or supervisor in the most crowded places and arranges for something like a public execution, repudiating them with words in presence of strangers. Only if they fucked me in the ass. For as long as there are other people nearby, he's not scared. I'm not scared when there aren't any other people nearby either. I'll go up and fucking yell at you then too, bitch. Subjectively believing he can count on their support and understanding the ILE exaggeratedly and loudly defies his offender, trying to draw the attention of others and make them his allies. You seem to be ignoring the fact here that if he's doing this, then that person is a wicked individual who needs to be fucking shamed. We don't do it arbitrarily. Shut up, stop it, how are you behaving? You should be ashamed before people. Somebody tries to rein him in and tell me that, then nobody in this context here, in this little situation, is actually adjudicating the issue of who's right and who's wrong. So how the fuck can you know why anybody's doing anything if you aren't saying who's right and who's wrong in the situation? You're displaying the failure of your quadra's value, whatever quadra you're from. So, remember, we're not actually angered either. To tell an angered member of the Alpha Quadra to shut up is the same as pouring oil into the fire. Another matter is to accuse him of unfair distribution of rights and opportunities. Exactly, because we're not unfair, stupid. Especially acute responses such accusations evoke in LII, that's INTP, for whom the leading program aspect of TI did not allow to permit injustice in relation to someone else. You want me to live with my mouth shut? As the LII neighbor will immediately feel embarrassed. No, shudder to think I'm forcing you to live with your mouth shut. I'm not asking for this. I'm simply requesting that you limit your musical training to morning hours. So establishing a fair distribution of rights and opportunities, these are the prerogative of INTP. In the decisive quadra, silence is gold, word is silver. Whereas in the judicious quadra, every word is already worth its weight in gold. Not every word. Correct words. With the insidiously inventive aspect of intuition potential, any capable of blocking access to any proofs of innocence and vindication, the highly shifty logic of relations, TI, capable of juggling and stringing together the most intricate reasoning and finding inaccuracy and shortcoming the most rigorous and carefully balanced arguments, all of these properties work to dispel and mute the fear of the complex closed mouth. There are guarantees of personal rights and protection in Alpha Quadra in the opinion of society. The guarantee of the right, ability, and possibility of a person to fend for themselves on their own, merely on the grounds that if he doesn't want to, his mouth won't be closed. And if someone wasn't able to explain and justify himself, then it means he either didn't want to or couldn't deny his guilt. Forget about the guilt innocence thing. If somebody is not able to or willing to explain and justify a claim they are making, especially if it's regarding everybody, then they need to be called out on it, because they're prioritizing the wrong value, and it's fucking everybody. So fuck them, and fuck you for implying that these things are somehow all equal, that we're relativists. No. The end result of the quadra of subjectivists is absolutism. Thus, the subjective qualities of the person become the objective reality. If a person has failed to subjectively defend his opinions in innocence, then he is to blame objectively and should receive a real punishment. No. He's not to blame objectively and should receive real punishment. He's wrong and should repudiate the claim. As we can see, the quadral complex is much more than mere fear and anxieties. The quadral complex is formed by the aspects of four dominant in the quadratems 4 eco-successful models that live in unison with this society and organize it according to their own views, adjust and mold it to themselves, reflecting and cultivating within it all their priorities, preferential qualities, and properties. So I agree, these are 4 eco-successful models that live in unison with this society, but only one of them has the correct value for organizing society, and that's Alpha Quadra. Because without discourse, there is no fucking society. And if we're going to have discourse, have good discourse instead of bad, stupid discourse. Okay, I don't know why my camera's not turning back on, but regardless, I opened the floor. That was went on a little longer than I expected. Sorry. Any thoughts? What's going on? Camera. There we go. Hi, JC. No thoughts from anybody? Okay, well, I guess my ranting covered the bases adequately. So, well, let's stop this video, and that's it.